My father died very young, and my mother had a very strong connection with her dad, and I grew up in a farm with him as my sort of father figure. Within a couple of years, we paid all the debt to the bank, and then we started to break even. And then he said, "Well, I don't want to do this anymore." And everyone was a bit like, "Well, why?" And he said, "Well, I started to read the labels." This was maybe 25 years ago. So I started to read the labels of the fertilizers and chemicals that we're using, and I'm only eating from my backyard veggie garden, and I can't sell to people things that I can't eat. Nobody asks us how we want to live. They ask you, what do you want to be? But nobody asks you how you want to live. And that flips everything, because once you understand how you want to live, everything that you do is actually not a goal per se, but it's actually something that you do to support the life you want to have. And that's just not taught in school. In 2012, between a year and a half, we had two major bushfires around the farm in Brazil, and we made like a family effort between myself, my brother and my mum to start studying ecological design, because we didn't want to give up the farm, because it was sort of his legacy. So we learned how to design places and production systems in different ways that were more resilient in terms of water, food production, bushfires, that sort of stuff. So it became a family journey. This farm is actually a special place. I was invited to develop a system here for the farm owner. This place actually combines one of the most efficient ways of growing food, fiber and timber that comes out of Brazil with one of the most efficient and elegant ways of designing or planning farms, which is the keyline scale of permanence. So it's a very special place. I've done my job, it's all working now, and I'm actually a bit sort of anxious to move on to the next stage and maybe develop another place, and I love doing that. Most people are craving for a chance to actually experience another way of learning. People actually want to learn biology, chemistry, physics, economy, not in this school way, you know. So I've got a lot of young people coming here, and we need to sort of unhinder the difficulties for people to change and for people to act. And one of the greatest lessons I've got from this place, because it's a special place and I've got a lot of people coming to visit the place, is that people just want to have a goal in a farm. If we give them ecological literacy, if we share with them energy literacy, and we explain to them the fundamentals, then the journey of designing, planning and establishing systems and whole farms becomes actually an adventure in which they can actually apply real knowledge with embodied skills. I usually tell people, especially young people, please just stop, you know, asking permission to heal the planet. You know, some other people, and these people are usually the ones who are actually in farms and in nature, they do not fit very well with the schooling system. So we need to let these people know that it's okay not to have a degree and actually do amazing things, and that have a hands-on experience. It's not the opposite of having a brain. You can actually have a brain, a very smart one, and be a practical person. In many ways, we have always been subsidizing the development or the growth of the economy with some sort of energy. We also have a huge blinder, which is we are not aware, we don't know how much subsidies we get from fossil fuels. All the studies will show you that if the whole world would behave like the middle Australian class or the US, we would need 5 planets. So when I talk about ecological literacy, what I'm trying to explain is that growth economy can only happen at the expense of the environment. It's the second law of thermodynamics. We can't escape it. So you get to a place that's highly functional, that's got landscape function. So by landscape function, it means, you know, the sun is taken, and plants in different layers make the most out of that energy that comes for free, and create an environment in which we have biodiversity, we have a healthy water cycle, we have nutrient cycling being cycled by animals and plants, and things decaying organically, and that creates what's called in biology a landscape function. Today, young people think that they have a disadvantage, which is, I don't have money to do the things that I need to do, which is quite the opposite. What we need to do is to think about, we need to think sideways. You don't have money, but on the other hand, you're not stuck with loans, like educational loans. You're not stuck with mortgage. You're not stuck with expensive cars. You're not stuck in old ways of farming with, you know, owing the bank like hundreds of thousands of dollars because of buildings that can only produce in degrading ways. And what we need is actually people understanding that they need to assess the minimum sort of things that they need to live a good life. And it's not about consumerism, because once all of our basic needs are met, we don't get any happier with more money. And we have psychological studies for that. You know, we need a good house, we need good food, we need friends, culture, love. Done. This is a message that needs to get across. You get so much freedom out of that realization, because then you don't need to buy all those things. And you don't need to plan a career for 30 years. You can plan for the things that you yourself decided are important for your life.